Hello there, and welcome to my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. We are now at round 7 of Season 2. We are at France, the Circuit Le Castellet of Paul Ricard. If you haven't seen the last one, go back and check that one out before you come back and watch this one. So, we've had a couple of really solid races. We've had a win and a second place, and we've got some really good momentum that we're building up. So, hopefully we can carry on that momentum moving forward here in France. First up, of course, though, we've got to get out of Q1, get into Q3 and set a competitive lap. So that is the aim right now. And this lap, to be honest, is fairly solid. That is a very quick lap though, 1:27.7. That's also wide around the exit. I just want to apologise as well that there hasn't been an upload in a few days. I am currently away, so putting these videos together, I haven't had an awful lot of spare time to do, so I will be knocking these career mode videos out as and when I can. They will still be regularly coming out, so do not despair, there is plenty of content to come. Anyway, we made it into the final part of qualifying, and to be fair, we've had 2 solid laps so far. We're now looking for a third to try and score another pole position. And that's a little bit wide into the first corner, but we hit that second apex okay. Go out a little bit wide, but keep my foot in it nonetheless before we head to the very quick right left here. And then we slow it right down for what I think is turn 5. And then we've got the long 6 here, and we've nailed that first sector down. We've done pretty okay in the second sector, but we need to find a bit of magic in this final sector. I'll be honest, it's one of my favourite circuits on the game to drive, even if it hasn't always produced the most exciting races, and I use that term loosely because we've had 3 of them, and only one IRL race was actually entertaining, if I'm honest, and that was this season's. But we're coming out of the last 2 corners now. This lap, I feel like we've really put one together. We're now sprinting for the line. I'm hoping we can at least be on the 2nd or 3rd row. What is it? It's P8.
Complete. Let's review our top
it's
3
P8,
today.
so
Hamilton,
not as
Bottas,
quick as I would
Max
like,
Verstappen.
but I'm hoping
With
in the race
we
can
now
make
have our
up a
grid
good
lineup
couple
for
of
the big race
positions.
tomorrow.
That
Be
is
sure
my
to
aim
join us
moving
then
forwards.
for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. Welcome along then to France, host of the world famous Tour de France. But we're not talking 2 wheels today, we're talking 4, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the Circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo and Vettel, Sainz, Joker, Norris and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Sergio Perez and Tsunoda, Schwartzman, Latifi, George Russell and Mick Schumacher, Joe, Ocon, Mazepin and Artem Markelov. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So P8 on the grid then. I am eyeing to make up a couple of positions in that first corner. And it is lights out and away we go in France. We've got a decent start. Vettel doesn't seem to be away very well. He might be the first player we can nip. No, he's gone to cover. So we're going round the outside. And we're going to try and hold that outside line now. And we have actually gained the position on Vettel. And Stroll now, though, who has made a good start, is trying to come down my left. We're trying to hold off Sainz at the same time. We've gone down the inside, and yet we have held off the Ferrari. And now we're trying to make a move on the McLaren and Daniel Ricciardo and move up into P5. So that's a very good opening sector of the race, gaining 3 places on that opening sector. But now we've got to I've got to keep my eye on my back because Ricciardo still there in my slipstream. I don't feel the need to really cover it though. He's not really going for the move. So it's a Mercedes 1-2 at the front. Verstappen 3rd, Leclerc 4th, Ware in 5th, Ricciardo in 6th, and then Sainz in 7th. I tell you what, I've still got Ricciardo closer to me than I am to Leclerc. So it's time to dig deep and find a little extra in this first sector to try and get ahead of the Ferrari driver. And Bottas beginning to create a bit of a train now, consisting of Verstappen, Leclerc and myself. Ricciardo now no longer on it, and I feel like I'm a little bit stuck behind these guys. So it's going to be a matter of, can we pit and have a quicker pit stop than both of them? So we're going to make a stop at the end of that lap, which is what we did. And, well, Verstappen and Leclerc are behind us in the pit lane. We come out just ahead of them both. So we have managed to have a quick pit stop. I imagine they were held up by other cars pitting on the same lap. And that has worked out beautifully for us because we're now ahead of the pair of them. And I'm easily going to breeze past Artem Markelov here. That won't be a challenge. And that will give me a little bit of breathing space to Verstappen, who's going to be very quick as well in his attempt to get past us. But while Markelov is tucking him up, that is good for us. But what's not good is that there is a Ferrari pulling out of the race. I believe that it is Charles Leclerc. I can't see the car number. I think that's Leclerc. No, it's Sainz. I do apologise. So Carlos Sainz is out of the race as I force my way past Guan Yu Zhou. Next up is Esteban Ocon. And of course these guys are potentially one-stopping, so we have to overtake these guys for position. Ocon goes to cover. I brake later, sweep around the outside. Job done. Next up is George Russell in the Williams. Him and Lewis Hamilton are having a ding-dong battle ahead. I wish I was close enough to see that battle, but Hamilton should edge that one out comfortably, and in fact he has done. And now we're alongside George Russell, and well, this should be a pretty straightforward move, but George decided to turn in on me there. I'm not sure he quite saw me there, but we're down the inside of Russell, got the move done. Next up is Mick Schumacher, which we're going to dive him down the inside here. These slower cars are easier to pass, A, because they're on slower tyres, and B, well, he's in a Haas. Not really rocket science to get past a Haas. Now I'm hoping that Schwartzman up in P5 can hold things up and potentially hold up Hamilton to allow me to catch up with him. And Schwartzman, got to be said, having a better race here than he has been having. Obviously only one stopping as we know, but it's still a good showing from him. But alas, it's not the showing that I need him to have right now. Hamilton is tucked up right behind him. How much can Robert hold him up for me? Hamilton has the fastest lap. No, he doesn't. Bottas has just taken that with a 1:31.0. And that is a fast time. That is a time that has me concerned, because Bottas is on the soft tyres and Hamilton has got past Schwartzman then. But now Bottas is climbing all over me. I'm going to cover the inside. Bottas goes to the outside. We're braking later, and Bottas we are able to keep behind for now. But yeah, this is getting exciting now, because Hamilton is now tucked up behind Tsunoda, and I'm trying to go along with him, and well, Schwartzman, sorry, is pulled into pit as Bottas has another look. We're not letting him through there. We got a little bit ruthless on that one, defending that position, and we have held on once again to fourth. But Bottas is not giving up, and Hamilton is tucked up behind Tsunoda, which is good for us. That's where we'd want him to be. Sliding massively around that corner though. I am really pushing hard here because I want this win. I am sensing the opportunity to grab a win here, and I am willing to go all out to try and take it. First off, again, we've got to cover Bottas, as that's some very aggressive defending. Bottas locks up, runs deep, and we're able to hold on to the position. Bottas is now pitted for a set of what I presume would be medium tyres, but I am now trying to push Hamilton really hard here, and I'm thinking the only option for me here to jump past him is to maybe try and do it on the undercut, but we're pushing hard nonetheless. Just trying to keep up with him, running great pace because we're pretty much matching him at this section of the race. So I'm thinking if we can just get on a fresh set of medium tyres and bang out a really quick lap, that should be us getting past him for the race lead. So we're doing that right now. We are taking that pit stop right now. The crucial thing is that we've got ahead of this gaggle of cars headed by Pierre Gasly. If we hadn't got ahead of them, that could have been quite catastrophic in our aim to get P1. So I'm actually really glad that we were able to get ahead of those guys. Right, Hamilton now into the pits. We've had a couple of laps in free air, and I've really pushed hard in those couple of laps. And Hamilton is out behind us. So we have completed the undercut on Lewis Hamilton, but it is only by a second. And Lewis is right there waiting to take the spoils from me. He is right there waiting to have a go. So we can't afford to get complacent because he is right there. He's having a little look up the inside. I'm going to cover the inside for the next corner. And we've held him off well. But Hamilton, as you can see, looking very fast and really gearing up to have a go. Perez is in third on hard tyres, so he must be one of the first of the one-stoppers. Again, covering the inside on Hamilton. And it just seems like a matter of when over if Lewis gets by. So we've really got to push to defend now. And we've got several laps still to go in this race, so it's all about this. Can we hold Lewis Hamilton off for the win? I've got to defend. Hamilton's gone to the outside. He's already got past on the straight. I'm going to brake as late as I dare. We bang wheels. I almost push Hamilton off the circuit. I'm still pushing to keep the lead. Round it goes. We have spun off in this French Grand Prix. And that is Hamilton passed and gone. That is gutting. That is gutting. Through two goes Valtteri Bottas. You just see it here. Pushing too hard. We hit the curb. And round it goes. And you see it from onboard Lewis as well. And you see as we recover, Valtteri Bottas is just going to have an easy way through when we do go across to try and stop him. But that was an exercise in futility itself. I cannot believe that. Pushing so hard to try and hold the lead, and eventually we crack under the pressure and we lost 2 places. We lost the lead to Hamilton and we lost second to the other Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. But I can't really complain too much because we started in 8th place and we are now in 3rd. So it's going to be a 3rd podium in a row, but oh, what could have been if not for that mistake. Would Hamilton have got past us eventually? We'll never know now, but it's P3 here in the French Grand Prix. Started 8th, still a podium, still some very solid points. I'll take that.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you pulled through. Thank you.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Paul Ricard. Ants, talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
I'm not going to lie, I'm still kicking myself for that mistake though. We had a win or a P2 in the bag, pushed too hard to keep the win and eventually hit the curb.
So then,
round
it's
it
time
went
to see
and we
how
just
this
weren't
result
able to
affects the
hold
Drivers'
on.
Championship.
But
It's a
Hamilton
great
wins
result
the
for
race,
Lewis Hamilton,
Bottas is
who moves
second,
further ahead
we got
on
third,
top of the
Pierre
table.
Gasly
Some
doing a
amazing
great
talent
job
out
for
on the track
AlphaTauri
today.
in fourth.
But Anthony,
Then
who
it's
would you pick
Perez,
as your driver
Leclerc,
of the day?
Tsunoda,
Well, you can't fault
Verstappen,
anything that
Vettel
Sergio
and
Perez did out on the track today. He
Schwartzman
drove
getting his
flawlessly,
first
making him an
point
easy
of
pick.
this
It's
career
time to
mode
see how things
in
are shaping
10th
up
place.
in the Constructors' Championship.
I can't help
Mercedes
but feel at this
continue to
point though,
extend their lead.
in terms of
Meanwhile,
keeping him as a
Ferrari have
teammate,
improved their position.
that is
A
too
strong
little
weekend
too
for
late.
them as
We
they
did
fight their
need
way
more
towards
from
the
him.
top. Well, and
But
an end to another fantastic
yeah, it is
weekend
what
of
it is.
racing.
Right,
Thanks to everyone
we're
who
now
joined us,
48
and we'll see
points
you
off
for
the
next
championship lead. I'm not really eyeing the championship at this point. I feel like if we had a more competitive car, we could really push for it, but at the same time, I don't feel like we're just there yet in terms of fighting for the championship, but we could have been if we'd have won that race. So I don't know, I'm not targeting the championship, but I am going to push as hard as I can to get as many points, and if that brings me into the fight, you know, I'll take it. But for now, I'm just happy to be as high up as we are, doing as well as we are. Right, I'm going to leave you with the highlights reel as always then. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, punch the sub button, take care, look after yourselves. TTFN, ta for now.